This is Unit 12, Statistics, video number 3. We're going to talk about dispersion. This video will probably be just an introduction, and we will get more in-depth in further questions in the second video on this topic. So this probably will take 2 videos. This is dispersion, is how spread out your information is from your center. So, you can think of it as dispersing away from the center. And the first ones we're going to talk about is measures that are away from the median. So when you're talking about median, we talk about these kinds of measures. We talk about the range, which is the highest number minus the lowest number, and this gives us a single value. It's not like the range we're talking about in functions where we have less than or equal to y, less than or equal to a number. That's for functions. In statistics, range is a single value. It is the value from how long it is from the maximum number to the minimum number. After you find the range, you can also find something called the interquartile range. And you first need to find the quartiles, and we'll go over how to do that in a moment. But the definition is it is quartile 3 minus quartile 1. It is also a single number defined by the distance from quartile 1 to quartile 3. Quartiles, just like quarters, occur every 25% of the data. So we break it up like this. At 0%, you're at the minimum data point. At 25%, you have reached quartile 1, which is the median of the first half of the data. It's usually most useful to find the median first and then find the median of the first half. 50% is the median. 75% is the median of the second half of the data. Again, find the median first and then find the median of the second half. And then very top number is at 100%, or the maximum. So these is what we call the 5-number summary. You may have remembered this from algebra when we made box plots out of these numbers. So this is the 5-number summary. When you look at an example, I put them in order already to save us the trouble. We have 32, 34, 36, 36, 37, 38, 45, 48, 52, 55, and 56. That means that we have 11 numbers, and that our sixth number, if we do 11 plus 1 is 12. 12 divided by 2 gives us 6. 6 is our middle number, so that's our median. Our minimum is obviously 32. Our maximum is 56. If we wanted to calculate the range, we would do 56, subtract 32, and get 24. Now to get Q1 and Q3, you go on the left side of your median, and you ignore the median, the bar down the middle. If it cuts through a number, you ignore the number. If the bar was between, say, 36 and 37, you would look to the left of the bar, and you would include 36 in your calculation. Okay? So, for example, if I didn't have all the numbers I had, suppose I only had 8 numbers so that these 3 were gone. We'll undo this in a minute. Then we would be looking right here at our median, and then right here would be our Q1, and right over here would be Q3. Okay, so we would be looking halfway, 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 and that would be your max, and that would be your min. Take off the green. Looking again here. So when we did the first half of these 5 numbers, the median would be 36, so that's Q1. The half of the top 5 numbers, the median would be 52, so that's Q3, quartile 1 and quartile 3. So if we needed to calculate the interquartile range, you would do 52 minus 36, which gives you 16. And if you wanted to make a box plot, you would make a very nice scale, but that's not part of our curriculum at this point. And if you're interested in making box plots, come join us in AP Stat next year. So this is one piece of how you can look at the information. The other way you can look at information is the measures you are about the mean. So how far are you from the mean? Standard deviation is the measure of spread from the mean using a standardized scale. So we come up with something called a standardized scale, and that will calculate how many standard deviations your value is from the mean, and we're going to do lots of these. The most common way to do this is your TI Nspire, and I apologize that you don't all have one at home. When we come back from break, I'm going to be assigning different groups of students calculators for the weekend to do some practice on some different skills. every weekend for the month of April and May so that you can actually practice some of these skills at home as necessary. So there are two types of standard deviation. One is a sample standard deviation, which we denote using the letter S, and the other is a population standard deviation, which we denote using the Greek letter sigma. Now, the higher the value of a standard deviation, so if we're looking at a standard deviation of 1.2 and a standard deviation of 3.4, the higher the standard deviation, the more spread out your data is from the mean. So a 1.2 would mean all of your information is very close. A standard deviation of 3.4 would mean the information was spread out further than that. Like I said, we're going to be using a calculator to help get these values. And if you square your standard deviation, you're going to get a variance, which is another measure of spread of the data. You think of it as how variable your information is from the center. Okay, let's look at a couple of questions, and then we will cut the video and move on to another set of questions video. So here's some things that you're going to learn how to do. Now you can do some of these by hand, so I'm going to go over here and do number 3 by hand. If you see number 1, we have to use the inspire, and we'll do that in a moment. The heights in inches of 10 varsity basketball players, find the interquartile range. So I put them in order: 70, 71, 71, 72, 74, 74, 75, 78, 79, 79, 83. Down the middle, which was halfway between 74 and 75. I found the middle of the left, which was 72, the middle of the right, which was 79. And then if I want to calculate the actual value here, I would just take the Q3 minus Q1. Please write the formula when you're doing these problems, especially since this is not multiple choice, so that you can maximize the number of points, because if you get the formula wrong, maybe you'll get some partial credit. So it's 79 minus 72, or if you found the wrong quartile 3, you'll definitely get credit for knowing the formula. And so that means our interquartile range is 7, and that's your answer. What about something that has a frequency chart? So you have to figure out where you are. So we have 9 plus 5, which is 14. 14 plus, this gives us 24. So 14 plus 24 is 38. The interquartile range would be every 25% there. Okay. So if we take our 38 and we divide it by 4, you're going to get 9.5. So every 9.5 spot is where your value is going to be. So Q1 is going to be between the 9th and 10th spot. And so that means it's going to be between 5 and 7, so it's going to be 6. And then Q3 is going to be 9.5 plus 9.5 plus 9.5 away, which would be 28.5 spots away. So when we get here, you're at 22, and then to go here, you're going to be at 30, so it's going to be in the 12. And you are going to then subtract the two values. Okay? And that concludes this video.